And so the United States has a choice they have to make. The question is, how long is this going to take, and how much money are they going to have to print to do it? The end is clear. Bitcoin and gold are going to go up so much, people are going to be shocked. In fact, it gets so dangerous to talk about super cycle this, super cycle that, this cycle's different, because then you always go back and you look like an idiot. But I'm this close to calling for a super cycle. I don't know if I've ever been more bullish. I don't think this bull run is going to end until Trump is out of office. The amount of money these guys are going to have to print for a sustained period of time, the fiat as we know it is over, guys. We're talking about years worth of reindustrializing, printing money. Who's paying for all this stuff? The US government is broke. We run twin deficits. We don't have cash flow to pay for things. I still think $250,000 to $1 million per Bitcoin this bull cycle is well within the cards. I think the way gold's performing, we could see a $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 Bitcoin in 2026, no problem. I mean, we could hit 200K before the year's over.
Jack begins with a bold truth. You cannot manipulate time. Yet governments around the world keep trying to by manipulating money. Money, as he explains, is simply our time and energy in an abstracted form. It's the record of our effort, the symbol of the value we bring to society. When you go to work, sacrifice leisure, and contribute to your community, that time and energy gets stored in money. But when governments print money out of thin air, when they inflate the currency, they're not just devaluing the dollars in your wallet, they're devaluing you.
Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and the overall digital asset space and drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.
We can't manipulate time, and how the hell are we going to pay for it? Because as Bitcoiners, this is what really matters to us. Not even as Bitcoiners, fuck that. As humans. Governments inflating our time and energy away, our hard work. Because guys, again, money is your time and energy in an abstracted form. The money that you have is a reflection of you, your contributions to those around you, right? When you get up and you go to work, listen, you don't go to the beach every day. You don't lay around and drink milkshakes. You don't just lounge by the pool. Everyone listening to this gets up and does shit for those around them, creates value, produces something to the market. And in return for that, you get money. And so therefore, money is your time and energy in an abstracted form. In a perfect world, the money that you've earned is a direct reflection of how valuable you've contributed to society. And so for someone to be able to debase the money means by proxy, they're debasing you. It is the most disrespectful act, I think, in human history, fiat. Because you are looking another man in the eyes and devaluing them. Because by devaluing the money, you are by proxy devaluing them. The commute they had to take to work, the long hours they put in, the stress they endured, the sacrifice. They're not with their family. They're not with their friends. They're not on the beach. They are busting their ass to contribute value to those around them, contributing real time and real energy. And for a government to say, fuck you, we value you and your integrity and your contributions at zero. That's what we care about. So how bad is it? How much money are they going to print? And how long is this going to take? That's the point I want to make. And so the United States has a choice they have to make. The question is, how long is this going to take? And how much money are they going to have to print to do it? The end is clear. Bitcoin and gold are going to go up so much, people are going to be shocked. In fact, it gets so dangerous to talk about super cycle this, super cycle that, this cycle's different, because then you always go back and you look like an idiot. But I'm this close to calling for a super cycle. I don't know if I've ever been more bullish. I don't think this bull run is going to end until Trump is out of office. The amount of money these guys are going to have to print for a sustained period of time, the fiat as we know it is over, guys. We're talking about years worth of reindustrializing, printing money. Who's paying for all this stuff? The US government is broke. We run twin deficits. We don't have cash flow to pay for things. They're going to have to print money way more than anyone thinks. It's going to cost way more than anyone thinks. Bitcoin and gold are going to go up way more than anyone thinks. Round up to the upside to be safe. Okay. And now to the money printing. How are we financing this? So Bitcoin had a little, it's been a little choppy. It's had a little oopsie. As I said in the beginning of the show, it's about 12% from its all-time high 2 weeks ago. And everyone online, like the sentiment is so bad. Everyone's freaking out, thinking the bull market's over. I can't be more bullish. I literally think we have years of money printing, reindustrializing, and unwinding from the fiat regime that we know as. And Bitcoin's going to be in an open competition against gold to be the de facto money for humanity. So I wanted to put out this tweet really to calm everyone down. I said, remember, Bitcoin is the most sensitive to liquidity. It moves first. It's a truth machine. Bitcoin on a Friday night tanking is telling us something. It's telling us there's something broken in the financial system. Liquidity is off. The fiat system is failing. Okay. And you want Bitcoin to be the most sensitive to liquidity because we want it to be the best expression of currency debasement. We want it to be the best performer on the other side of the money printer. When you're the most sensitive to liquidity, it goes both ways. Yes, you react on a Friday night when the stock market can't because it's closed and when gold doesn't because it's a rock. But that means if they're going to print a ton of money, and this is the end of fiat as we know it, Bitcoin's going to be the best performer. So I said, yields are puking, spreads blowing out, the banks are stressed, and I gave some images and some data to support that. But Bitcoin is working because it smells trouble. When they're forced to print, and this whole show is about the fact that they are, it'll move first again and outperform everything. Now, Bitcoin is back above 110. Why is that? And people say, well, Bitcoin's buckled. It's coupled in with risk, right? The stock market in Bitcoin, that's risk on. And when risk comes off, those things sell off. What does that mean? It means when there is funding crisis, like there was, and I'm telling you guys, Bitcoin smelled blood because there was blood. The reason that there was a crisis is because there were scarce reserves at the bank. And these things sell off. And so Bitcoin was smelling the fact that risk was coming off, liquidity was extremely tight, and there was borderline a crisis in the repo market. Markets started to freak out. Reserves got scarce. Guys, think of Bitcoin like a truth machine. It can't lie to you. It's the only real free market. And so don't be mad at it on a Friday night when it goes down. If you need Bitcoin's price to go up, you're too levered. You're too reliant on it. Stack sats and chill. Be humble. Relax. Go to the beach. Don't live a lifestyle you cannot afford, okay? And just understand that Bitcoin's trying to talk to you. It's telling you something. And so what do we get immediately over the last week because of this liquidity crisis that was brewing? Powell says Fed may stop shrinking balance sheets in the month ahead. Now, all of a sudden, Jerome Powell and the Fed comes out and says, it is wartime financing. We need to reindustrialize this country. Someone has to pay for it. Here comes the money printer. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell signaled that the central bank may stop shrinking its balance sheet in the coming months, so no more QT, and some form of QE is coming. Fed's Powell says the end of balance sheet drawdown process may be nearing. QT endgame gains urgency as the Fed's reverse repo nears zero. So this is apart from the article that I thought was relevant. The reverse repo facility has largely existed to mop up excess liquidity the Fed created during the pandemic, and now it has been effectively drained out. So this facility that was used for liquidity is gone. We've ran through it all. They need to print more money. They need to print more money. And Bitcoin was telling us that. It was smelling it. Just again, think of it like a truth machine, the only free market that can be honest with you. The stock market's not a free market. The gold market's not a free market. It's freer than the stock market, but it's not free like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a truth machine, okay? The further the reserves fall, the more likely liquidity scarcity could emerge with little warning and rattle money markets, in turn complicating the Fed's ability to keep its monetary policy interest rate target where it wants to be.
Maller sees the Federal Reserve cornered. Liquidity is gone. The reverse repo facility, designed to absorb excess liquidity, is drained. The Fed is now openly signaling that quantitative tightening, QT, is ending, and that quantitative easing, QE, money printing, will soon return. Rates are likely to be cut aggressively, possibly by 50 basis points or more, and as that happens, the cycle of debasement accelerates. Yield curve control, stablecoin regulations, and financial engineering will all try to mask the collapse. But the end result is the same. The purchasing power of fiat will fall, and Bitcoin will rise as the outlet for global capital fleeing debasement. Jack predicts Bitcoin could reach $200,000 before the end of the year, and between $400,000 to $600,000 by 2026, driven by the scale of money printing and the collapse of trust in fiat currencies.
China is the one engineering a higher gold price. It's China's the buyer. China is the persistent bid. It doesn't mean that American investors in the United States and there's a lot of gold buying right now. They added like 3 Bitcoins to their market cap in a week. Like gold is on a tear. $30 trillion asset, first time ever. So, but to your point, I mean, China has the most to benefit right now currently from gold being whatever it is, $4,500 an ounce and performing like it is. It's part of their plan, de-dollarizing. They need to devalue the yuan against something. We've talked about this on the show. Devalue against what? You got to devalue against neutral asset. Bitcoin and gold are the real 2 global, accessible, neutral, scarce assets to devalue against. China's picking analog. Like they've picked their fighter. And it doesn't, I think gold will be around for a very long time and Bitcoin's still very young. And so this kind of duel between Bitcoin and gold could take decades, could take longer than I'm alive. But that's what we're seeing, right? China's remonetizing gold right in everyone's face, 100%. And the data shows that. That's not a speculation. Can we actually deindustrialize and be the reserve currency without collapsing? No. I mean, I think the post-1971 dollar has reached its last chapter. It's over. We're on the brink of collapse. I mean, sovereign debt crisis level collapse. We have to reindustrialize. So I think it's obvious. I think it's simple. Jamie Dimon agrees with me now. Scott Besson agrees with me now. It's funny, all these guys that, oh no, we're going to Doge. We're going to pay for it with tariffs. They should have just listened to our show, man. They should have hung out with us, you and I in the chat. We would have been way better off. You guys think they're going to lower 50 basis points at the next Fed meeting? They might. I think Myron came out and said 25 isn't fast enough. The Fed's been late. And now you guys all know why. Reserves are scarce. There's liquidity problems in the market, and the level of financing to reindustrialize the United States of America is going to be insane. The level of inflation. I mean, they're talking about wartime financing. Like World War II, I think the Fed's balance sheet 10x'd. Like, can the Fed's balance sheet 10x? We're going to get some form of yield curve control. Yes to all the above, probably, absolutely. I mean, the Genius Act and what they're trying to do with stablecoins is literally a version of yield curve control. So, yeah, would it surprise me if they cut 50 at once? Absolutely not. And remember, Jerome is out spring next year, and Trump's going to get his way, one way or the other. And that's why I don't want to call for super cycles, but I still think $250,000 to $1 million per Bitcoin this bull cycle is well within the cards. I think the way gold's performing, we could see a $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 Bitcoin in 2026, no problem. I mean, we could hit 200K before the year's over. I think the level of printing, currency debasement, and reindustrializing, I mean, rolling out of this fiat regime that we've created, shutting it down, we've never seen anything as scarce as Bitcoin. Price discovery with this thing is violent. I'm telling you guys that from experience. So whatever you think it's going to be, it's probably going to surprise you to the upside. At the end of the day, I don't think it's like, cue Saifedean Moose, cue the Bitcoin standard. I don't think monetary competition is about like what the person in power chooses. That's not how it works. Monetary competition is the best money wins because of very specific properties. The one that's the scarcest, easiest to verify, easiest to move, easiest to store, right? I think Bitcoin's going to win because it's better at being money than gold. And we can make Bitcoin better. It's technology. Can't make gold better. Gold's going to come in the condition we found it. It's a rock. Can't add a feature. Can't integrate it in your app. Sorry. So I don't think it's up to anybody else. Now, as an American millennial that wants my country to succeed and be the America that, we all want it to be, and I want to have kids, I want to be a dad, I want to raise them here, all that good stuff. I'm going to encourage Bitcoin. I'm going to do this podcast every week. I'm going to fight tooth and nail to play my role in creating the world that I want to live in. But that's different than someone deciding. I think the free market will decide. The better money will win. It's only a matter of time. Okay, markets. Hey, Jack, I know this is a simple question, but how do I explain Bitcoin to friends/siblings who have not thought deeply about economics and money? What is a good analogy they might understand? That's a good question. I think for the sake of this episode being so long, I'm not going to get all long-winded here. I will say, it's really difficult to get somebody to learn something and change if they don't want to change. Michael Saylor always says Bitcoin is on a need-to-know basis. It's very easy to explain Bitcoin to someone if they need it, if they need to know. If they don't, it's very difficult for anyone to change in that way. It's very difficult to get someone to go in the gym and eat a cleaner diet unless they feel like they need to, for whatever reason, whether it's looks, disease, performance, whatever that is, right? But if someone was born going to live to 200 years old and looks the best looking person in the world, it's very difficult to get them to sacrifice and go to the gym and not eat sugary shit. And so same thing. One of the cool things about Bitcoin is you don't have to protest and convince the world. You can just stay humble, stack sats, and the free market is going to figure it all out. I don't have to march outside Washington, D.C. like gold bugs. Get back on a gold standard, please. So I think people figure out Bitcoin when they have a need. And there's, of course, a way better answer for you of how I would explain it to my friends. Maybe I come back to this next episode because this one's already running up against 2 hours and I feel really bad. So I'm sorry about that. Could a government or major institution ever buy enough nodes or mining power to control or attack the Bitcoin network? Or is that financially impossible? I mean, there is what's called a 51% attack. You can go look it up. But the way Bitcoin works, it's very fascinating, is let's say you have enough power to create a double spend in Bitcoin. So 51% attack the network. You could basically double spend a transaction to yourself. So you can take one transaction that, it's in the blockchain and you can reorder it to yourself. And that's it. And so what's fascinating is Bitcoin, and I'm greatly oversimplifying, but the point is Bitcoin uses game theory and economic incentives to create a desired outcome that's in its best interest. Meaning if you have that much power, you're actually better off just mining Bitcoin and making a fuck ton of money by mining every single block than you are to double spend this dude's pizza transaction last night. Because once the network realizes that there's a double spend going on, then the network can actually start to refute the attacker. And so it's not like you can break Bitcoin forever. So you have a choice. It's if you are in a position where you have that much mining capacity, do you want to just make a bunch of money mining Bitcoin? Or do you want to try and fuck with the network and see if you get away with one transaction? And so the incentive actually is just whatever. If I want to make money, why would I attack it? I'm disincentivized to attack it. So there's a huge oversimplification, but it should broadly get the point across that Bitcoin doesn't really have an attractive threat model.
He reminds listeners not to live beyond their means, not to obsess over short-term price action. If you need Bitcoin's price to go up, you're too levered, he says. Stack sats and chill. Bitcoin's volatility is not a flaw, it's communication. It's the truth machine speaking. He urges people to be patient, to live within their means, to see Bitcoin as a long-term tool for freedom, not a get-rich-quick scheme. And for those asking how to explain Bitcoin to others, he gives a wise answer. You can't teach someone who doesn't need to learn. People discover Bitcoin when they need it, when the system fails them. Just like people go to the gym only when their health demands it, people turn to Bitcoin when they feel the weight of fiat theft.